If you're not angry, you're not listening. You need to be aware. It is your civic duty to care about what's going on. I don't care if you're Democratic or Republican. You have a constitution that says freedom of speech. You have a constitution that says freedom of the press. You have a living document that lives and breathes for the people. And that man is using it in corrupt, demonic ways. And he wants to talk about how the LGBTQ, how black communities, how POCs, how immigrants are the devil. That's only one devil I can see, and he sits in the White House. You should be angry. You should be out here with us. They don't care about you. These people, and you should show them, all of these people out here. These are the people. This is their country. This Capitol building, people are supposed to come here and represent us. And they won't. So I will represent me. That's what I have to say.
What we do in life echoes in eternity.
What up, y'all? It's Devin with UPTV, aka the Dot Connector, and if you're watching this video, then you may already feel it too. The tension, the pressure, the cold, creeping realization that something is deeply wrong with the world we live in. We are being lied to, controlled, monitored, manipulated, and they dare call it freedom. But the truth is, we are being groomed for digital slavery, enslaved not by chains, but by comfort, by silence, by compliance. They don't want you to wake up. They don't want you to resist. They want you passive, distracted, pacified, until the cage is locked and it's too late to do anything about it. You are being gaslit on a global scale. They flood your feed with distractions, celebrity drama, fake outrage, AI-generated propaganda, all while quietly erasing your rights, slowly turning the world into a prison without bars. And the scariest part, most people are asleep, smiling and scrolling straight into their own captivity. We are frogs boiling in a pot, and the heat is rising fast. Food prices, rent, censorship, surveillance, digital IDs, 1 degree at a time, until the moment comes when we're fully cooked and no longer able to jump out. This video isn't just a wake-up call, it's a call to action, because we are past the point of awareness. It's time for movement, real movement, peaceful but powerful, spiritual but relentless, because if we don't rise now, we won't get another chance.
The Dot Connector here. You are watching UPTV, and we'll be back in a moment, so stay tuned, because the truth is out there.
Family, as many of you know, YouTube recently demonetized my channel. In the age of censorship, we always knew this day would come. In response, many of you have donated to the channel, which I am forever grateful for. It's times like these that UPTV needs your help the most. It is your donations that will allow videos like this and many more to still be produced. Don't allow big tech to put a stop to the truth. Please continue to support the channel by following the donation links in the description of this video. Any amount, big or small, is greatly appreciated. Thank you for your love, support, and generosity as we battle against spiritual wickedness in high places, tyranny, and injustice. My name is Devin Worlds, and we are the Dot Connectors.
Welcome back. You are still tuned in to the greatest show in the universe, only on UPTV.
Let's kill the illusion once and for all. The political system isn't failing, it's functioning perfectly, just not for you. It's functioning for the corporations, the billionaires, the war machine, the surveillance state. And every 4 years, they roll out a new puppet. They make you think you got a choice, red or blue, right or left, but it's two wings of the same bird, and that bird is headed straight toward a digital dictatorship. You think elections are going to save you. The last few decades should have shown you by now. Every president, every single one, including Donald Trump, has only served the rich while ignoring the cries of the poor. Trump sent stimulus checks while pumping trillions into Wall Street.
Economic relief is coming. The Senate unanimously passed a $2 trillion emergency aid package last night. CBS 2's Cara Finstrom is in Hollywood with what that means for most Americans.
The stimulus package passed in the Senate late last night. The White House is hoping that it will give businesses like these in Hollywood and Americans a boost. A vote in the House of Representatives will likely happen tomorrow. Then the president says he'll sign it into law. The stimulus package includes $250 billion for direct payments to Americans. That essentially breaks down to payments of up to $1,200 for most working individuals, with $500 payments for children. Another $250 billion will go towards unemployment insurance benefits, $350 billion for small business loans, and $500 billion will go towards loans for distressed corporations.
Obama bailed out the banks and let the homeowners drown.
And if there's one thing that has unified Democrats and Republicans and everybody in between, it's that we all hated the bank bailout. I hated it, you hated it. It was about as popular as a root canal.
Bush sent soldiers to die in, dare I say, fake wars. Biden can't even finish a sentence, and somehow we were pretending like he was actually in charge.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
They are all actors, controlled opposition, selling hope while building hell. Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1 through 2 says, "Woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, depriving the poor of justice." This isn't just corruption, it's orchestration. The housing market collapse, engineered. The destruction of the middle class, deliberate. The rise of billionaires while you drown in debt, by design. We are being farmed like cattle. Our labor is harvested. Our data is monetized. Our souls are numbed. And every time we start waking up, they give us a new distraction, a new villain to hate, a new false hope to chase. They keep us divided by skin, by class, by creed, because if we ever unite, the system collapses overnight.
On the streets of Xinjiang, there is still a tension and signs of what this place has been through. Heavy police, regular stops, a sense they're always watching.
There are fears this morning that Chinese authorities may be cracking down on Christianity. The U.S.-based nonprofit China Aid says a Chinese pastor and his wife are among 100 Christians who've recently been detained.
Claims by this former Chinese police officer turned whistleblower have confirmed what the world has believed for a long time. Known only as Jiang, the whistleblower says that Uyghurs in so-called re-education camps in Xinjiang are not treated as humans. He says deaths are common in these camps for minorities. He confirms there are nearly 900,000 people being detained in these camps by the CPC. Many have been detained for just saying the wrong things.
You want to know where all this is going? Look no farther than China, because China isn't just a country across the ocean. It's a mirror reflecting our future, a future being quietly imported piece by piece into our own backyard. In China, surveillance isn't a conspiracy, it's policy. Cameras on every corner, biometric scans at every checkpoint, AI tracking every move, every word, every thought. And if you say the wrong thing, if you post the wrong opinion, you disappear. Sometimes for several years, and sometimes forever. Whistleblowers, including former Chinese police officers, have come forward detailing horrors inside these so-called re-education camps. People locked away for reading the wrong book, detained for sensitive opinions, hauled off on freight trains, denied food and water, beaten until bones crack or worse, until they never leave. And these aren't terrorists, these are students, workers, mothers, fathers, people just like you. Over 900,000 detained, and the punishment? Reprogramming. The Chinese Communist Party calls it vocational education, but let's be real, it's Orwellian mind control. Strip away their beliefs, break their spirits, rebuild them into obedient citizens. And if they can do that to their own people, what makes you think it can't happen here? Because it already is. The same blueprint is being laid brick by digital brick right here in America. Smart cities, AI monitoring, hate speech laws, digital ID, the slow, suffocating normalization of tyranny. Just like in China, dissent will be pathologized, Christian beliefs will be labeled extremism, public prayer will be seen as hate, and just like in Xinjiang, re-education camps won't come with barbed wire first. They'll come with job mandates, algorithmic punishment, and misinformation lockdowns. It's already starting, and what they perfected in China, they're now adapting for you.
The whistleblower has detailed the plight of Uyghur minorities in China. He asserts that when detainees are transported to these camps by freight train from other parts of China, they are not allowed to eat or go to the toilet and are only given water from bottle caps.
It's taken us days to even confirm these details because of the secrecy and lack of transparency in China when it comes to their legal system. But what we know this morning is that Wang Yi, a very high-profile pastor, as you mentioned, he's been in the Oval Office, he's a former legal scholar. He, along with his wife, Zhang Rong, and 100 Christians were detained early last week in the Chinese city of Chengdu. They are all members of the Early Rain Covenant Church. Wang is the pastor of that church. And this is a church that has been targeted by China for quite some time because they are basically operating underground.
The whistleblower adds once Uyghurs reach the camp, detainees are then routinely subjected to severe physical ill treatment and abuse. He claims that sometimes the detainees are beaten to death by Chinese security officials.
And so while the church's technical violation would be operating without registering, the real crime, religious groups that support this church would say, is that they're just not supporting the Communist Party ideology.
So, Will, what is the consequence for these people who are arrested? Do we have a gauge of that?
We don't know. There is concern that they, like others who have been detained for religious, crimes in the past, could be sent to these kind of re-education camps where China is accused of trying to brainwash people.
China says everyone held for re-education has now graduated. Over 90% of the re-education camps we visited were visibly no longer being used for this purpose. Most now appear to be schools. The reality may be far more complex. In fact, while arrests spiked in 2017 at the height of the crackdown, they remain higher than they were before it started. Prosecutions jumped up too, and there was a huge increase in average sentences, meaning most of those people will still be locked up. But if not in the camps, then where?
Listen to me. I will never be able to afford a house. I will never be able to afford a house.
Home prices are rising nationwide as inflation remains stubborn and mortgage rates remain high as Americans compete for fewer available homes. Home prices in March were up 0.4% compared to February. Now that's the second month in a row that we have seen gains.
My parents' house that is $195,000 back in '96 is now worth like $500,000 to $700,000. My children will never be able to have the life I live because I can't afford to do it.
I don't think any of us thought when we were growing up that owning a home would be a luxury. Like maybe we thought it would be a bit difficult, but not like a luxury that basically only the rich will be able to afford.
No one that works a full-time job should be facing homelessness. And that's what my family is facing right now.
Being completely radicalized by the rental housing market right now, I cannot believe that you can pay over $300 in non-refundable fees just to apply for an apartment.
A big part of the reason why social life here in America is getting more and more difficult has to do with the fact that nobody can afford decent housing.
Everybody in America kind of knows, like, it's over. Like, there will be no recovery. Like, this is not like the other times. This ain't like 2008 where, we'll crash and then we'll get back up.
Because right now, this economy, this world is set up to make average American families fail.
And I'm appalled that our particular kind of capitalism not only fails to deal with the housing problem, but somehow routinizes it so that the homelessness is blamed on the homeless, blaming the victim kind of, because I can see why a society does it, because if you're such a failure at providing this basic human need, you better blame somebody, because otherwise you risk blaming yourself.
If I can get my hands on a nice lump sum of money, baby, I'm buying land in another country and I'm out of here because there's nothing left here but struggle.
Right now, America is sitting on a ticking time bomb. The banks are hollow, the dollar is dying, inflation is raging out of control. And still, they keep printing more money like it's just numbers on the screen, because to them, that's all it is. They already cashed out. They already moved their wealth into land, gold, digital assets, while feeding you a lie. Everything is under control. But collapse is not a bug in the system. It's the plan. Soon, millions will wake up and realize their bank accounts are frozen. ATMs will say temporarily out of service. Card readers will flash red, and the media will call it a glitch. Then comes the solution, the Central Bank Digital Currency. It won't be real money, it'll be programmable credits. The government will decide when you can spend it, where you can spend it, and what you're allowed to buy. Didn't get that latest booster? No groceries for you. Said something critical on social media? Your account is locked. Tried to donate to a protest? You're flagged as a threat. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a convergence between collapsing economies and rising control. CBDCs are the chains being forged right now. Cash will disappear, privacy will vanish, and the last illusion of freedom will evaporate in a puff of digital smoke.
The American dream that was pitched to the Gen Xers and the Boomers is no longer present in today's world.
I hope people in power, they change the price of things. There has to be a way to make everything go cheaper. There's no way they can just keep going up and up and up, because then people won't be able to live. It's just so expensive. No one will be able to afford anything.
I wish people in power would think more with their heart. It is hard for me to accept that I'm not able to enjoy the rest of my life because I have worked hard all my life.
We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
Jobs report shows some job gains in industries like healthcare, hospitality, and leisure, but concerns are growing about AI replacing some human workers. Major companies like Microsoft, Walmart, and Business Insider are laying off employees amid the rise of artificial intelligence in the workplace.
Well, the robots have arrived, at least in Pasadena, California. That's where the world's first ever fully autonomous AI-powered restaurant has opened, complete with burger-flipping bots. We sent CBS's Joy Benedict on a taste test.
Flippy the chef makes Spud spectacular. This automated grill gives the meat its sizzle as this restaurant goes robotic.
For this burger, it would take about 120 seconds.
Our customers typically look for a quick trip. So when they come into our stores, they want to come in and get out. So this technology has given us that opportunity to do exactly that. It's effortless, no friction when you come into the stores. You don't have the long lines, you don't have cashiers. All you do is just walk into the store, scan your credit card, pick up the items that you want. We have a virtual cart. As soon as you pick up an item or put back the item, that registers with all of our digital camera systems inside the store. Picks up what you're doing as you shop. When you leave the store, you just walk out. The technology works just like that.
It is inevitable that we are going to have some sort of a universal basic income. There will be a lot of casualties in terms of workers, not just the routine workers that were in the factories that got replaced by software over the last 30 years, but we're going to see more professional workers who are actually going to be losing their jobs because AI can do those jobs at least as well as they can and far more efficiently.
They're already preparing you for the next phase. AI will take your job, but they promise it's for your benefit. You'll get universal basic income, they say, a monthly allowance from the same system that stole your freedom. It sounds merciful until you realize that UBI is just another leash, a leash made of dependency, of digital currency, of submission to the system. And here's the setup. They take your job, they crash the economy, then they offer UBI and CBDC credits. You're no longer an employee, you're a subject. And if you step out of line, your credits won't work, your rent will bounce, your benefits will vanish. This is slavery 2.0, not with whips and chains, but with terms and conditions.
And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips. right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
Everything.
you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people. And you become a slave. You become a serf to these people. That's their goal. That's their intentions.
Eric, can you be specific about when you met Rockefeller, how it happened in these discussions?
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me. I knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him and I liked him, and he was a very, very smart man. And we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. And he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told him what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, you know, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later 9/11 happened, and I remember he was telling me how you're gonna see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places, and there's gonna be this war on terror, of which there's no real enemy, and the whole thing is a giant hoax, you know, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, there's no question. He says, there's going to be war on terror, and he's just laughing. There's no, who are we fighting? I mean, why do you think 9/11 happened, and then nothing's happened since then? Do you think that our security is so great here that these people who pulled off 9/11, who were able to, can't knock down another plane? Come on, it's ridiculous. 9/11 was done by people in our own government and our own banking system to perpetuate the fear of the American people into subordinating themselves to anything the government wants them to do. That's what it's about, and to create this war, this endless war on terror.
AI is not just automating the workforce, it's automating oppression. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 7 says, "The borrower is slave to the lender," and under this system, we'll all be debtors to digital pharaohs. The worst part, people will thank them for it. They'll defend the system that enslaved them because it feeds them just enough to stay alive. That's not freedom, that's captivity disguised as compassion.
The Bible teaches that Satan is the god of this world. He's the prince and power of the air. He's the prince of this world. And he uses force to get people to believe strange things. And we're seeing force used today all over the world as tensions are mounting on a scale so rapid that we cannot keep up with them. And we've seen even in the past few days things happening that we never dreamed would happen, but they are happening. And it seems that the world is rushing madly toward World War III, and World War III will be Armageddon. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are already riding. I can hear their hoofbeats. And unless we repent and turn to God, they're going to come with all of their war and their destruction and the starvation and the diseases and the death and the hell that they bring with them.
This goes beyond politics. It goes beyond presidents and policies. This is prophetic, Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against spiritual wickedness in high places." This is about control of the soul, a war for your allegiance, a final push toward a beast system where the enemy masquerades as a savior. And while the world sleeps, the spirit of the Antichrist is being coded into every app, every law, every screen, biometrics, digital ID, total surveillance. And just like Revelation warned, a time is coming where no one will be able to buy or sell unless they bow to the system. Churches remain silent, schools push compliance, media mocks the truth. But you know what? We are not ignorant of Satan's devices. We see the deception, we hear the lies, and we will not bow. This is the moment where silence becomes sin, where truth becomes rebellion, where light must shine or darkness will reign unchecked.
Do we obey God or do we obey the government? Man, people are wrestling with that all around the world. Here in America, you got a little taste of that during the pandemic when the government said in certain states you can't gather. Do we take the vaccine or not take the vaccine? Do we wear masks or not take masks? You got some churches gathered all the way through. You got churches like ours in Georgia when they say you can't gather. 2 years with no gathering at all. And it's this real tension we felt during the pandemic between God and government. Hear me. That tension, I believe, in America is going to heat up. For a day is coming, I'm telling you right now, they're going to pass laws against the scriptures. They will say laws like, man, if you preach that in the word of God, it is hate speech. If you say, man, this is biblical marriage, it is hate speech. If you say from the pulpit, a man can't marry a man and a woman can't marry a woman, it's hate speech. We in the United States of America, watch me, a day is coming where we're going to feel that tension between God and government, and that we're going to have to make a decision. Do we obey God? Or do we obey presidents? And do we obey God even if it costs you? I'm talking to American, you know nothing about that. Do we obey God, watch this, even if it costs you your life? That's what they're going to deal with in the Great Tribulation, right? When the Antichrist comes to power, read your Bible. But they will have to make a decision. Following Christ will cost the majority of them, watch, their life. Do we take the mark of the beast? Do we not take the mark of the beast? If we don't take the mark, can't buy, can't sell, no house, no 401k, no job, no gas, no food, but I have Christ. Will Christ be enough for you? Nah, some of you can't handle that heat. You can choose between Christ and all discomfort. Christ and eating out of a trash can, or the Antichrist and have food in my fridge. How about that for a decision? Right? The conflict between God and government. This is the tension at the center of our text.
It seems to me that there are three ways that oppressed people can deal with their oppression.
What are they, Dr. King?
Well, one is to rise up in open violence, in physical violence. And some persons have used that method, persons who have been oppressed. But I think the danger of that method is its futility. I feel that violence creates many more social problems than it solves.
Let me be clear. This is not a call to violence. This is a call to peaceful resistance, to holy defiance, to bold spiritual revolution. They can't arrest millions of voices. They can't censor feet in the streets. We must gather in churches, in parks, in neighborhoods. We must speak truth to power, march without fear, pray without ceasing, and love each other enough to fight for one another's freedom. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 8 says, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves." So we speak, we move, we stand, not as mobs, but as messengers, not as rioters, but as righteous witnesses. MLK didn't march alone, neither did Moses, neither should we. And I'm not talking about some political movement. I'm talking about the body of Christ rising up, a holy remnant that refuses to bow, refuses to be silenced, refuses to accept digital chains in place of God-given liberty. This is not about left versus right. This is about truth versus tyranny. And the time is now.
May I interrupt you there, Dr. King? There are today certainly people who are forced to endure a kind of injustice that neither you nor even Gandhi in his time had ever seen. For example, would you regard the martyrs of Hungary's rebellion a year ago as misguided men and having used violence?
I admire freedom fighters wherever they are, but I still believe that nonviolence is the strongest approach. I think that would apply to the Hungarian situation also. I don't think it's limited to a particular locality. I think it should apply in every situation in the world where individuals seek to break loose from the bondage of colonialism or from some totalitarian regime or from the system which we confront in America.
Ideally, you have people forming up opinions and desires and then voting for a government that represents them. But we know it works both ways. The government has enormous power to shape the opinions and desires of the population, and this power only increases today with the new technologies of surveillance, mass surveillance and social media and so forth. So when the government can, the government is not just responsive to the will of the people, it can shape the will of the people. And this really destabilizes the democratic system. Also, the media has an enormous role to play in this. That if the government has too much control over the media, then it's not like people are forming their own independent views about what's happening. We now have the power, or at least not we, but some governments and corporations for the first time in history have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings.
They told you the plan, you just didn't believe them. You will own nothing and be happy. You'll eat bugs instead of meat. You'll be tracked, scored, monitored for your safety. And when we question it, they call us extremists, conspiracy theorists, threats to democracy. But ask yourself, what kind of democracy demands obedience? What kind of freedom tracks every word? What kind of safety silences the truth? The heat is rising, the clock is ticking, and we are dangerously close to the point of no return. We can't afford apathy. We can't afford fear. We can't afford to wait. If we don't rise now, we may not rise at all. This is our window, our moment, our generation's test. And I say, we rise. Isaiah chapter 60 verse 1 says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Let it rise in you. Let it shine through you. Let it break the silence. But what are your thoughts? Sound off in the comment section and let me know. And because there will be no UPTV without viewers like you, I would like to give a special shout out to anyone who has donated to or supported the channel in any type of way. This is Devin with UPTV. I love you, family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also hit that bell so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. As always, give your life to Yeshua, and I'll holla at y'all later. Peace.
If you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible.
Thank you for watching UPTV2. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to UPTV2 and UPTV, or watch one of these great videos here and enjoy. Peace.